Headshots for the year, you better walk around like Daft Punk. And yes, the challenges to Drake and his spot on the throne continue. Now, before we get all the way started into the video, let's just answer the question right off the bat. Yes, this is a diss to Drake, and it's a clear out as well of some other prominent people in the music industry. In this record, Childish Gambino, also known as Donald Glover, was talking his ish and letting people know that on the microphone, he is willing to go there with anybody. But of course, his main target was Drake, and the diss is actually in the title, much like Kendrick did throughout most of his diss tracks. We're gonna break it down right after this. All right, let's get right into it. Now, this is not gonna be a super long, I'm not gonna do every bar like I normally do in the Lyrics Explained video. I'm just gonna cherry pick some of the stronger disses towards Drake that I think people missed, because this is definitely a diss towards Drake. And we're gonna start with the title, as I just stated in the intro. So Yoshinoya. Now the second line in the record is "I stuck around like Yoshinoya." Now Yoshinoya is a Japanese chain restaurant, kind of like the McDonald's of Japanese food, I would say. It was established in 1899, and the motto of the restaurant, you can get this from its Wikipedia page, is tasty, low priced, and quick. Now, why is that a dig at Drake? Because that's how many describe his brand of music. So the title itself is a diss at what he's gonna talk about. You know, Donald Glover, just like Kendrick Lamar, takes time with the albums and the music and with his creative endeavors in general. And they look at Drake's style of music as, it may be tasty and it's low priced and quick, but is it quality, right? Again, these artists, if you watch the channel, you already know, when artists decide to say certain words and name the titles of their tracks certain things, there's a reason and a purpose behind it, every time, for the creative artist anyway. But let's continue. Now, in the hook, he says, "That's my brother, don't you know it?" And of course, we know Drake loves to use the "that's my brother" lines in his records. Then he goes on after the Yoshinoya bar to say Stone Mountain, Reading, DeKalb, and Sequoia. He's naming different spots, different towns in Georgia where he is from. We know, going back to Not Like Us and Kendrick using the colonizer reference as far as Georgia is concerned, and Atlanta artists and Drake basically stealing from them, right? Now, throughout the song, he is impersonating Drake's flow, right? So then when he goes into this part of the hook, "This my life, I must enjoy it, this my life, they busting for it," that's more of a dig to how Drake lives his lifestyle, right? His approach. And he's gonna keep hitting at that as far as priorities are concerned, and lifestyle and decision making, right? We know Kendrick, that's what he leaned into a lot with the parenting thing. Childish Gambino is gonna do the same thing. Now, when he goes into the next lines, "We don't hold back, we must move forward." Again, Drake has been accused of holding some artists back and, you know, snatching back verses that he promised people, things like that. Some bad contracts with some of the OVO artists like I Love Mekanin. If you can look up that story as far as what happened to his career and how he ended up on the shelf at OVO. Now he continues, "Stay where you at, you're supposed to, boy." Of course, Drake is known as the boy and niggas is fake, I won't ignore it. Now, this is the main reason that Donald Glover and Childish Gambino has a problem with Drake. He stated this in interviews before, is that he sees Drake as a fake artist. This is Kendrick's main beef too, is that they see Drake as a prop up and as a fake artist, as kind of this industry creation. Now, the "Stay Where You At" line gets back into Childish Gambino's song "This Is America," was supposed to be a diss towards Drake. Okay, so "Stay Where You At" means stay in Toronto, stay in Canada. You can also lean into the Not Like Us narrative that Kendrick has throughout that song, is that Drake is a culture vulture of American culture, right? Whether you believe that or not, that's what they're saying. So he starts the verse, "I put your boy in the seat, you got your business streets, I wash my hands when I eat, I never hand her the key, I don't know no one BD," right? So now he's talking about Drake's approach to women and what he's about to do as far as putting him in the seat. He means, I'm about to explain some things to you, right? I wash my hands when I eat. That means that he conducts his business cleanly, and Drake does not. Now, by business, I mean not only business in music, but also business socially and how you interact with especially females. We know Drake's history as far as targeting other people's females. So all those lines go together when he says, I wash my hands when I eat. I never hand her the key. I don't know no one BD, but they dependent on me. Of course, dependent is children. BD refers to baby daddy. Now, he's doing exactly what Kendrick did in 616 in LA in this part. And I think throughout the song, but definitely in the first half of the song, he's rapping. You can take the lyrics as him rapping as Drake and as him rapping to Drake at the same time. You know, that's the first part of 616 in LA, Off-White Sunseeker at the Marina. Kendrick is doing the same thing, taking that same approach where you can take it as lyrics that Drake would rap, but it's also a message and digs at Drake as well within the same lyrics. Now, the next 4 bars, niggas don't know where I'm at. I find your house on the app. People around you ain't slat. They plotting hard when you flat. Okay, so plotting hard when you flat, of course, is when he sleep. So while you sleep, they plotting against you. Of course, again, 616 in LA. Kendrick let that cat out the bag. Also in Meet the Grams. Now, people around you ain't slat. I'm going backwards, I know. But slat is something, it's like slime. It's what Young Thug and them say to each other. So slime is like homie, somebody who's down for you, I guess, is, you know, what that means. Also, slat is a solid piece of stone, right? So it's also a way to say it's a double. So it's the slang term for slat, and it's also what a slat actually is, which is a solid piece of stone. So he's saying people around you are not solid, right? Now, I found your house on the app, of course, that refers to the cover art for Not Like Us and Niggas Don't Know Where I'm At. Again, he's juxtaposing the difference in lifestyle, right? When I'm not creating, Donald Glover is tending to his family and other businesses, whereas Drake is always in the public, always posting. He's going to mention that again later on in the song. Now, these next few bars are tricky, okay, because there's a few meanings in them. Now, he says, this who you trust when you sleeping at night. I'm in the mirror, I see what I like. It is what it is. I'm right when I'm right. F with my kids, you F with your life. Now, that is on his face, of course, he's talking about don't diss his children, right? And it's something Drake has been known to do, right? But he's also talking about, now the Man in the Mirror thing, the song that Drake was supposed to release, that's all rumors. I don't think that that's referencing that. The time is a little tight for that. But what he is referencing is how Drake is as a person, the same thing Kendrick did, right? And the reason Drake lives the lifestyle that he lives, as far as how his approach to females and his approach to his family, is because he doesn't like himself and he has a conflict with his image and whether he is an actor and totally fake as his representation as an artist is concerned. So when he says F with my kids, you F with your life, he's also talking about the difference in their approach. I F with my kids while you F with your life, right? Not worrying about your kids, hiding your kid, etc. Again, Drake is going to face that. Whenever he battles someone, they're going to bring up the difference in parenting and the difference in choices in lifestyle. You're always on social media. You're always traveling. I'm at home with my family when I'm not doing business. So those lines take on a double meaning there. Now, when he does the hook for a second time, the second line he changes. When he mentions Yoshinoya, he says soup à l'oignon. Now, a soup à l'oignon is a thick French soup, okay? It's a soup that they cover with cheese and it's covered with white toast. Now, that could be him talking about Drake being cheesy and, you know, half white. That could be that. But I took it as, because here, Yoshinoya is a Japanese restaurant. They don't serve soup à l'oignon. I looked at their menu and everything just to make sure. I never ate there before, so I had to make sure. But like I said, it's a thick French soup. And Drake's baby mama Sophie is thick and French. So that's kind of a slick sneak diss in mentioning and making references to the ladies in the other rapper's life, which you know Drake likes to do. In this one, Childish Gambino is beating him to the punch, so to speak. And speaking of punch, I need you to punch that like button. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, share the video to all the other hip hop heads in your life that you know that want to hear these lyrics explained, hear these bars being broken down. Childish Gambino fans out there, and thank you for watching. Let's continue the bar breakdown. Now, after the second hook, then there's a stop, there's a beat switch, and the style in the beat switches to more of a timestamp type style. You know, all the timestamp records where Drake kind of just goes off and freestyles. He starts to mimic that now. Now, I'm not gonna go through all of these lyrics. I'm just gonna highlight the ones that I thought were the most important. Now, he starts it with, "This is a cold red for old heads who never liked my short shorts and pro kids. Been a minute since I had to fit it on a notepad." Now, I don't think any of that is towards Drake, but there is somebody who has a history with fitteds, New York Yankee fitteds to be exact, and pro kids, and is an old head. Now, if you know the history of Rockefeller Records and some of their business dealings, you know who that's about. Could be about one Mr. Jay-Z. I don't know if Jay-Z ever said anything about Donald Glover before, but that's what it sounds like to me. Those are the references. And throughout this verse, he takes shots at, I believe, other people that are not Drake. Okay, all of these references do not fit Drake. You have to really stretch and reach to try to make some of the references be about Drake. And when Donald Glover released the video for This Is America and the song, a lot of people had a lot to say and a lot of criticism for it. So I think that he's also referencing maybe some of those people as well. But let's continue. "Told me money make you lonely. It ain't so bad. Niggas jokes is so dad, but haven't seen they son in a month. Sold some Apple stock to buy a farm. I needed to stunt." Now, of course, the dad, niggas jokes is so dad, haven't seen their son in a month. Again, that's another hit at Drake. Now, but the sold some Apple stock to buy a farm. I needed to stunt. That's just, I like that bar because stunt takes on a double meaning. Of course, the slang term for stunt means to pretend, to front, to fake, right? That can be seen as a hit at Drake as well. But a stunt, the definition for a stunt is an unusual or difficult feat requiring great skill. So just the fact that he's willing to try to buy a farm and run a farm is a stunt within itself. And of course, the Apple stock, the reference to apple and farm, you know, you grow apples on a farm. That's a pretty simple, easy reference to catch. Now, when he continues, "I told him take the back end points. He wanted to front. Now his career's in the blunt. These rappers cosplay the industry Comic-Con." All right, that's definitely about Drake. "I told him to take the back end points." Now that's a double meaning. Of course, the back end is when you take the revenue instead of being paid up front. You take the revenue from a creative endeavor. So that's the on-face reference. But he's also, Drake and Donald Glover come from the same background for the most part as far as career is concerned. You know, they're both actors who also do music, but they were actors first. And they both have been seen as not street enough, especially early in their careers, to be taken seriously as rappers. So he's saying, "I told him to take the back end points," meaning take the praise for being who you are, so to speak, right? But instead he wanted to front, meaning fake, right? Now his career is in the blunt, meaning, okay, he just got smoked by Kendrick. And these rappers cosplay the industry Comic-Con. Comic-Con, of course, is the big comic book and just in general entertainment space where they celebrate a lot of characters, fake characters in movies, comic books, wrestling, all kind of things are at Comic-Con, right? But it's mainly around comic book characters and Marvel movies. So, and they cosplay, they dress as these characters at Comic-Con. And that is all a reference to who Drake is in his career, according to Childish Gambino and many of his other detractors. But let's continue. So I'm gonna go down a little bit to the white boy throwing dirt on my name for the think piece. Now, that's, people say, well, that's him calling Drake a white boy. No, Drake did not do a think piece about Donald Glover as far as I know. Couldn't find anything on that. But there were a lot of white boys who did think pieces whose feelings were hurt by This Is America, the song, and the video. And I think that's what he's referencing there. And when he continues, checks off death, murder, and pain, leave you empty. I curse you with that knowledge, right? Okay, first, he's referencing Adam and Eve, okay? Because that's the curse of knowledge, right? The tree of knowledge, they were cursed. And that, quote unquote, brought sin into the world, right? Death, murder, and pain. But that is more a diss to the industry. It can be also seen as a diss to Drake, but Drake doesn't really rap about death, murder, and pain. Okay, so again, when he leads off with the white boy throwing dirt on my name for the think piece, checks off death, murder, and pain, leave you empty. I curse you with that knowledge. He's talking more about now people in the industry, media especially, mainstream media especially, because they definitely get checks off death, murder, and pain, as do industry execs. And of course, they were cursed because Eve bit the apple. That goes back to the Apple stock line. Again, talking about certain industry execs. Put it all together. If you know, you know. Let's continue. Now, he gets into the next lines is, put their hands on a woman for the clout, but said I'm wildin'. Death before dishonor on my mama like Keke Palmer. Now, let me go through the put their hands on a woman for clout. I'm not sure who that references. Now, that could be referencing Drake with the hugging on the 17-year-old girl. That could be that. That's a reach though. Now, I know Keke Palmer had some issues with the father of her child, and she recently became a mother. So that could be talking about that. Now, but when he says, I put that on my mama like Keke Palmer, putting that on my mama is also Chicago slang. Keke Palmer is from the suburbs of Chicago. So that can be seen as a triple reference there, as this she recently became a mother, using slang from where she's from. And it could be also referencing the abuse allegations that she had with her baby's father. Now, that's not a diss to her at all. And he's using that as an example of what we're accepting in the culture and how certain people are moving out here. That's kind of ridiculous. You know, it's not man shit. That's why he say death before dishonor. Let's continue. So the last set of bars I'm gonna talk about is, made a song but spent more time writing the caption. I'm an actor. You can put that on the set. I'm about action. My tweets all lowercase. I saw these niggas capping. My homegirl said you a stalker, so we ain't dapping. I ain't see you, man. What happened? Now, again, this is talking about the way Drake moves around females and just moves in general as far as social media is concerned. The way he tried to use the internet to gain favor in the battle against Kendrick. Again, he's criticizing him. He spent more time concentrating on social media instead of concentrating on making more records and concentrating on the records that you made. The Hard Part 6 comes to mind there. Now, of course, I'm an actor. You can put that on set. That, of course, is referencing, of course, both of them are actors, but also the beginning of Family Matters when Drake is talking about Kendrick not being from a set, so to speak. And then I'm about action. My tweets all lowercase. I saw these ninjas capping. All right. So that's, again, talking about Drake capping throughout the battle, as Kendrick has disproven most of what Drake had to say in the battle. And then my homegirl said you a stalker, so we ain't dapping. Again, Drake likes to try to backdoor people for their females. This is not as much of an accusation anymore because there's too much smoke for there not to be fire around him doing that. And he has said it in songs very early in his career, and I will be doing a lyrics explain on that song. So be on the lookout for that. But then he says, I ain't see you, man. What happened? Right? So he's basically, that's Drake responding to him saying, like, you talking to my female, but you're not saying anything to me, right? So he says, my homegirl say you're a stalker, so we ain't dapping. Like, you're trying to backdoor people, right? You're trying to talk to their female behind their back. If you remember the end of Family Ties by Baby Keem and Kendrick, number 2 DMing my bitch is cool on XY, right? That references that kind of behavior. And that kind of behavior and the mindset and the ego that has developed within Drake, or at least the opinion that this has developed within Drake among his peers in the music industry, is the reason he finds himself being dissed by so many people. And they've all come out in 2024, and it seems like they're jumping him. But like I've referenced in past videos, if you listen to Scary Hours 3, Drake did call everybody out. He did. He wanted smoke with everybody. Like I said, I've done lyrics explains for those records. I'm saving them for the membership. I might release 1 or 2 to see how they track. But right now, people are really not interested in hearing what Drake has to say. But like I said, I'll probably release 1 or 2 to see how they track. Because I did do a lyrics explain for every song, the 6 songs on that album. But speaking of albums, this album, Bando, Stone, and the New World by Childish Gambino, is a fire album, and I did do an album review that will be uploading soon. So click the link for that album review at the end of this video. As always, thank you for watching, and we are out.